invest in yourself. It's the best thing you can do for your growth. It's one of the best things you can do for your health. It's one of the best things you can do for your relationships.
Hello, and welcome aboard another episode of the Captain's Lifestyle Podcast. This is your captain speaking, Taylor Morgan. On today's episode, we have another special guest, but before we dive into the episode, I want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by the Captain's Lifestyle Program, my signature 90-day lifestyle optimization program geared specifically towards charitable company founders who are looking to maximize their health, happiness, and productivity in business so they can fulfill their entrepreneurial vision. So if you'd like more information on personalized coaching, head over to thecaptainslifestyle.com and fill out the initial assessment to see if you would be a good fit. With all that being said, let's welcome today's guest, who is a graduate of the Captain's Lifestyle Program, Jake Dewar. He's the founder of Dewr, and I'll let you talk more about that. Jake, welcome to the show.
Taylor, thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor. I love listening to these episodes, so it feels good to finally be a guest myself.
Yeah, you're going to be famous now with my millions of downloads per episode.
Oh, I can't wait. This is excellent.
Yeah, so give the listeners a little background about you personally.
Me personally, awesome.
Yeah.
So I am definitely an entrepreneur at heart. I grew up here in the Boston area, pretty much just always focused in like trying to be creative somehow. I was very musically focused for the beginning, like earlier years of my high school experience and like early or late middle school. And I kind of always wanted to fulfill this dream of like becoming this musician and selling all these records and blah, blah, blah. That later transitioned more towards like the business mind set and focus. And from there, like my entrepreneurial spirit really started to develop and grow. And when I was up in college, up in Vermont, I actually started my first business, which was a cleaning service, believe it or not. My apartment isn't the cleanest right now, but we did run a pretty tight cleaning service. And now we're here. I am the creator of Dewr, which is best described as like a premium community for personal development. And super excited to dig into like what that is and how it's helping people. But really, again, focused on like the personal development side of things right now is what I'm doing.
So let's do it. Let's dig into Dewr. Go into detail on what Dewr is, how it started, why you decided to create it, all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So again, it's that premium community for personal development. And when I first started it, it was actually completely different. It was kind of like a financially focused thing. But being that entrepreneur at heart, I always knew that like, while I do have a full-time job ongoing right now to pay the bills and everything, eventually one day I want to, be my own boss, have that autonomy of making my own schedule and just being able to fully, flex my creative muscles. And long story short, behind the failure of the first iteration of what Dewr was, it clicked with me one day that a lot of the goals that I had set for myself, so personal goals associated with building a business and, all the things that I had going on with my life, I noticed pretty much a common factor in that the reason I wasn't completing a lot of the goals was one, because I wasn't really holding myself accountable. I didn't have that element of personal accountability. But I also wasn't doing a very good job of like actualizing what my goals were. I wasn't writing them down. I wasn't, creating a list of the things that I had, my mind and my focus on. And I was pretty much forgetting everything and just letting all of my passions and whatnot fall by the wayside and kind of just, lackadaisically rolling through different ideas that I had. Thus, Dewr was born and was created originally pretty much as just that tool for boosting personal accountability and injecting social accountability, as it is that community, social first platform. The background there is I started working with a freelancer that I met online. And slowly but surely we started plugging away at some digital product. And now today we just did a soft launch of, actually yesterday, of the tool. It is live, and pretty much if you are a user or a member of that community, you can expect a very similar platform, to any social network, but obviously very focused and tailored towards personal development, task-based goals, focusing on productivity as opposed to scrolling through, I don't know, alien conspiracy videos or something like that.
Hey, those could be pretty fun.
Oh, trust me, I do that on the weekends.
Yeah. And just to clarify for the listeners, when this episode comes out, so when you're listening to this, the app, it's an app, correct?
Yeah, so it is website based first, but has app functionality, and then will be an app very shortly.
Gotcha. So yeah, as you're listening to this, it will, barring some crazy disaster, be available on the app and significantly more advanced than the first soft launch. So talk to us a little bit more about the platform. So what sets it apart from other social medias? I know you mentioned the specific, like personal development side of it, but how so within that?
Yeah, great question. So the first way I like to kind of describe how Dewar is different from something like a Facebook or an Instagram or one of those is one of my favorite quotes that I think it was from that Social Dilemma documentary that came out on Netflix a few months ago. But basically they illustrated that if it's free, you are the product, So we wanted to approach Dewar a lot differently, not just a little. It does have the same look and feel as something like Instagram or Facebook, where you are able to scroll through a feed of posts and content and goals. You are able to connect with people. You have a profile dedicated to organizing all of the ongoing goals that you have set for yourself. But the aspect that Dewar rises above any of those other platforms, especially in the personal development industry, is the fact that it's totally focused on interactivity and engagement. So instead of just posting a post for someone to look at and kind of just like, oh, very good, you can actually join the post. You can join it as a goal, and every goal is organized such that it has tasks. So everything is task based. So let's say you had a goal that was, focused within the health and wellness sphere. Like you would be able to actually, keep track of the progress of your goal, and then also the progress of all the other people that you have joined that goal with. So it has a obvious, application to your own personal development, but also the social accountability of having folks, included in this as kind of like that group effort with competitive collaboration, but also the discoverability of seeing what your friends are doing, joining in with whatever activities, they're working towards accomplishing as goals, and just kind of experiencing more, doing more.
I like that. I like the fact that you're able to join somebody's post, which is actually a goal, right? So what are the posts? Like what stops somebody from posting a picture of their dog? Like what's the difference there?
So theoretically you could, you just really wouldn't be gaining anything out of it. I mean, we definitely will encourage posting photos with your goals, especially if it's going to be like, something showing the success of a goal that you've just accomplished. Or let's say you cross the finish line of a 5K, a local 5K, and you snap the selfie. Post that, show people that you accomplished something and let them celebrate that with you. But the real value of creating that content is the actionable aspect of it, where you are able to directly interact with that as a task manager, something that's helping you stay accountable to due dates. So every post has a due date associated with it. You're creating SMART goals. You're able to write a title to the goal, but then also a very in-depth description of exactly what it is that you're looking to accomplish. And then again, always falling back on that task-based management system of that individual post.
Okay. So how many different types of posts do you envision there being on the app? So we've got the the goals. We've got the completed goals to showcase what you've accomplished. Is there anything else that you envision being posted on there besides those two?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I always love to say that we have a very long and winding road map, because there are so many awesome, features and functionalities that I'm always thinking of, or people are suggesting to me. And we keep a pretty long running list of all of those. And, as we do launch and get more feedback, we'll be able to prioritize those type of things. But in terms of the different types of content, Dewar is actually sectioned off, or the goals rather, into specific categories. So the first that I think is probably going to be the most used straight off the bat is obviously going to be that health and wellness category, just because so many folks have health and wellness goals that they struggle to keep accountable or stay accountable with. They struggle to achieve, and any listener listening right now, I'm right there with you in saying and admitting that, like, as when New Year's resolutions come around, they work out for about a week or two and then we forget about them. But there's also finance categories. There are cultural categories. So things like, learning new languages, dedicating set time every night to, reading more, that kind of stuff, journaling. There is also an other category that we can kind of use as more of like a broad blanket label for a goal, if it's a little bit askewed. But the categories is really what's going to differentiate the content type.
I like that. Remember when I told you about BizFluence, the kind of second LinkedIn platform? That's kind of what they're doing with the different sections or categories that you can post in, so that somebody who doesn't care at all about what you do never sees your post, because you can post it to this specific category and talk directly to your ideal client, people who care about what you're doing. So for me as a coach, would I be able to post like educational content on there? Like, would I be able to help other people with their goals, or would the benefit for me be primarily helping others stay accountable to their goals and then having other people hold me accountable to mine?
Yeah, great question. So yes to both. Realistically, the tool, could be used for your own personal goals. You as a coach helping me as kind of sometimes a slacker here and there, stay accountable to the goals that you and I speak to on the weekly basis and the check-in. For those listening, Taylor and I do a weekly check-in where I pretty much outline weekly and daily goals and actionables that are top of mind and specific to me, and we go through those. With Dewar, you would actually be able to make sure that I'm doing those things a little bit more granularly, and so that's kind of where the value from the coaching side comes from. In terms of the educational content, that is actually coming in the second soft launch that we're doing. Just as I mentioned, it's kind of like we're going in small groupings of releasing the content just because of the way it's structured. But you will essentially be able to create privatized or private content that would only be accessible to clients or folks that join exclusive communities that you have within the app, and they would be able to interact with that content there that someone who didn't have the credentials to access that wouldn't be able to see.
So the Captain's Lifestyle and the whole community of everybody I've coached in the past, present, future would be able to have access to this specific Captain's Lifestyle group where we all hold each other accountable to the goals, and I can help anybody in there. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. You could call it the Captain's Lifestyle, base it in LA. And then, every time you have a new client come on or a graduate, in the past, add them right to that. And then it's basically our exclusive, accountability community within the tool.
Perfect. And it's paid, correct?
So it's freemium. We figured like everyone should be able to try at least 3 goals. If it's not the tool for you, it's not the tool for you, but we want to make sure that you have the chance to try it out to see what the tracking systems are like. If the tool that we've created can help you, we want to be able to help you, straight off the bat. And then once, it has proved to be valuable to whether the goals that you're creating, or just your life in general, it is then a premium product that you would pay a monthly subscription to.
Okay. So going back to the coaches providing value, you said that will be available in the second installment or the second update of the app.
Yeah. So it will be, from pretty much here on out. If a listener is listening in, Q4 of 2021 or after, or maybe even before then, that's already live and functional. You are what I would like to call a motivator. I love how, social networks have the influencer and all, and that's all well and good of a label. But I think the motivator is a little bit more strategic and effective in our sense, because you're someone who is creating content that can motivate someone to, take extra steps towards benefiting themselves, towards staying accountable to goals that they've created, that you've created, or that people that they are motivated by have created. So that is pretty much all of that functionality, will be straight off the bat in, I guess, 2 to 3 weeks from right now.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you're listening to this, that it's probably available on the site or on the app. Yeah, that's awesome, because for me as a high performance coach, one of the biggest issues that I've found surrounding goals is the accountability aspect of it. Everybody knows that they need to work out. Everybody knows that they need to eat healthier, all that basic stuff. Everybody knows that. But one of the major reasons why people fall short of, like you said, their New Year's goals, for example, is because they lack accountability. They keep the goals to themselves. They don't really tell anybody. So nobody's holding them accountable because they're the only ones that know about it. So your app is fantastic for that standpoint, helping other people hold them accountable to their goals. But there's also another problem with some people's goals. So from a coach's standpoint, some people don't know, like some people might have the goal to work out more, but if you're so stressed out and you're not sleeping well because who knows, relationship, work, whatever, then going hard in the gym might actually do more harm than good. So that's just an example. So I think it's going to be fantastic once you have these experts on here who can kind of provide some sort of guidance to what goals they should be following, how to tweak their goals a little bit, if they need any assistance, anything like that. So it sounds like this will be a full comprehensive platform for anybody who wants to achieve anything.
Absolutely. And I think too, it's worth mentioning that the discoverability aspect that I alluded towards earlier, be it because it's straight up, but it is a social network. It's a premium community where we're able to connect with people. We're able to discover people that we're interested in and motivated by. And because of that, I think it's going to be an excellent resource for being able to, so I should call out this hat right here is the original name of what Dewar is. It's called Diversify, but it's a terrible name because most people don't know how to pronounce it and almost everyone doesn't know how to spell it. But after careful reanalysis on the business side, we've decided to change it. Anyways, it means diversify your future. So what I mean by that is try new things, is go out and do things that maybe you would never have thought of doing otherwise. I'm oftentimes inspired by my fiance to do things. She's a pretty, close, connection that I have in my life. But there are many people that I have in spheres a little bit further from, my immediate circle that are doing all sorts of different things within their lives that are interesting, that are productive, and that are absolutely worth checking out and trying.
Yeah, I like that you're able to, search somebody and see what goals they're working towards. Not that you should always follow somebody else's goals and try to reach them, but it could be fantastic for giving you the inspiration to work towards something. Yeah, I think that's great. Cool. Okay. Anything else you want to say about Dewar before we dive into the second half of this episode? So like specifically where people can find it and more about you.
So depending on the time you're listening, I'll just start with the website first, but DEWRAPP.com is our website. And again, depending on what time you're listening, it may also just be on either the Apple App Store or the Google Play App Store already, and you can just download it from there. Definitely check it out if you're interested in personal development. If you're someone who sometimes struggles with, actually staying on track and staying accountable to your goals. And I also like to say, like, for the price of a sandwich a month, you can change your life. So check it out and let me know what you think.
Yeah, that's sounds like a pretty good deal to me. So now let's dive into what got you started, or what got you interested in the Captain's Lifestyle program, because you're clearly big into personal development and health, happiness, and productivity. So what was it that drew you in to the Captain's Lifestyle?
Yeah. When you reached out to me, I think it was right after New Year's 2021. And I was living in an old apartment. It was kind of a dingy spot. I had been sedentary for who knows how long, after quarantine and all that. Here in Boston, it was definitely a lot harder than other places to kind of, go out and about and do things, socially distanced, of course. But I was struggling to get Dewar off the ground and ready for launch. And, obviously with building software, as someone who has no idea how to code, that's always kind of a struggle in itself. So product management and just being an entrepreneur and making, entrepreneurial decisions is always, it adds stress if you don't know how to manage it. So when you reached out to me with, just pretty much the proposal to just sync up and chat and learn a little bit more about myself and kind of what I was doing. And we were chatting a little bit about some like optimization methods, like the cages method that, we practiced. I think I was just really attracted to not only having someone, dedicated to speak with and pretty much have as a mentor and as a resource, but also as someone who clearly was in a much better place than myself as a solo founder and an entrepreneur, and someone who I could pretty much rely on to learn a lot from. So that's pretty much what got me interested right off the bat.
Awesome. So we had those first few calls. What were your hesitations, if any, when signing up?
Yeah. So there were a few smaller hesitations. I'm a younger guy and I'm living with my fiance now. So, pricing is always going to be something that I think about, wedding plans and rent and all this and that, and, trying to pretty much bootstrap a project on the side money I'm always thinking about. Also, like you said, I mean, I'm focused and I'm building a platform and a software product in the personal development space. So, you as a personal development, focused lifestyle coach reaching out to me, I thought, okay, like, I pretty much already know what you're going to tell me. Like, there's not too much value that you could really add. Of course I was wrong, but those are pretty much my biggest blockers. Just kind of like I've already read these books. I've already blah, 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 been down this road. Awesome. And I don't know about pricing yet. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So what was it that made you finally pull the trigger? Because price specifically is probably the biggest sticking point for a lot of my clients.
Yeah. So price was absolutely a barrier for me, but I think when we had the conversation that we had right before I signed on to the program, you pretty much outlined a little bit of the what's the word I'm thinking about? The syllabus, pretty much how the course would be structured, how the program operates, and what we would be doing on the next time that we would sync up. And I think when it comes down to it, if you can recognize the value of something, price shouldn't necessarily be the biggest barrier. You can always find money somewhere. And especially too, when you're thinking about something like personal development or something that just relates to you as an individual, like we're talking about a program that helps me. And the only reason I would get it is because it helps me and I'm learning a lot, right? well, you should be able to justify that pretty easily because, I preach it in my tool too, like invest in yourself. It's the best thing you can do for your growth. It's one of the best things you can do for your health. It's one of the best things you can do for your relationships and, everything pretty much that encompasses the lifestyle that you're living. So once we were able to, chat through some of that content matter, and, I was able to see like, okay, this is what we'll be getting. This is what we'll be covering. This is what we'll be, meeting upon and the frequency at which we were meeting. I was like, no brainer. I'm in.
Yeah. Cause I remember on a prior coaching call we had, you told me that you now understand how extremely valuable and basically necessary it is as an entrepreneur to have some type of mentor or coach in different areas. And yeah, I've recorded a podcast about this in the past about how the monetary price of something doesn't really matter. That shouldn't really be a factor. What you should be considering more is the value that you're getting from the product or service. So the formula that I created in that episode was first, define your goals. So that's first and foremost, you have to know what it is that you actually want. From there, define the roadblocks that are stopping you from achieving that goal on your own. And then anytime a product or service is presented to you that could potentially speed up the journey to the goal or eliminate one of the roadblocks, instead of thinking about the price, think, okay, what is the value of having this problem or challenge solved? Like, what is that worth to me? How much time is that going to save me? How much stress is that going to save me? And then, like you said, once you know the actual benefit of it, like this program is designed to benefit you for the rest of your life. It's not just like these things that you use now and then it's gone later. Like if I did my job correctly, you should have the ability to continue growing for the rest of your life. And so that one-time investment is good, for the next 80 plus years of your life. So I'm glad you mentioned that the difference between price and value. That's huge.
Yeah. I think too, like you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned the mentorship aspect of it. Like up until that point, I had obviously had mentorship in different forms, like my father, coaches, professors, whatever, but never really anything kind of with mentorship as the sole focus, like a one-on-one, here's the topic of what our kind of like relationship is more or less built upon, i.e. personal development and lifestyle, management. And it really, really resonated with me. Like it was huge. I think everyone not listening should have mentors in their lives for all different things, not just one mentor for X. If you're religious, a rabbi or a priest, or if you're not religious, like a lifestyle coach or a fellow teammate or anything, like have people that can help you stay accountable, but also, mentor you with their previous experiences and things that they've learned, and, vice versa. But then also too, another barrier that you also kind of just touched upon that I forgot to mention was the, from everything that we were talking about, I realized that as an entrepreneur, I had almost zero systems in place for being an entrepreneur. And through the conversations that we had, that was revealed to me as like an internal pain that I knew that I needed to solve. And then thus having a mentor that kind of could help me walk through that. Again, no brainer.
Yeah, I think that it's required now to have some type of mentor or coach in the area that you're lacking if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. Because if you think that the world's top CEOs and everybody who you see on the news, like, oh, they're so successful, if you think for 1 second that they don't have some type of mentor or coach on their team helping them in whatever area they're struggling with, you are mistaken. So if you want to be successful, you cannot do it on your own. And I truly believe that, just because the power of mentorship and learning from other people's mistakes and understanding and like improving on your areas of improving your areas of improvement, I think is like one of the best things that you could possibly do for yourself. because if everybody else has some type of mentor or coach, and this could be in a category, not just me specifically, but like a business coach specifically, or like if you don't have much time to cook for yourself, having meal prep delivered to you, learning how to outsource all these things so you don't have to spend a lot of your time, effort, and stress trying to figure everything out yourself and piecing things together. Hire somebody who already knows how to do that and who can teach you how to do that. It's a no-brainer. So I think as an entrepreneur, you have to have some type of coach, mentor in some way, shape, or form. You can learn a lot from podcasts. You can learn a lot from books. But if you really want to skyrocket and boost your success, I think it's got to be a one-on-one type thing, just because everybody's so individual. Everybody's got different issues. So yes, books are amazing. Podcasts are amazing. All the information that I teach my program is free out there somewhere. The value from my program is you don't have to spend the years that it took me to piece everything together in the correct order, and you get accountability and that aspect. Yo, Taylor here. So I'm sure you've heard me harp on sleep and basically every single podcast and video that I put out, because it truly is that important. And I'm excited to announce that I've created something very simple and very tactical that you guys can use to start improving your sleep immediately. In fact, it is the fastest way to improve the quality of your sleep and therefore the quality of your life, with amazing results after just one single night of implementation. Seriously, this is the same nightly ritual that I personally use, and it's the same strategy that I teach all of my high-performing clients in the Captain's Lifestyle program. It's the 4-3-2-1-30 method, and I'm giving it away to you guys for free. All you have to do is follow the link in my Instagram bio or in the show notes of this podcast, and I'll send it over so you can start sleeping better tonight. But please do not sleep on this offer. It's literally free, so no excuses. Go do it, and sweet dreams. Now for the fun part. This is my favorite part of these podcasts, is where we review your initial assessment and compare that with your ending assessment, just to kind of see the progress you've made. So to start it off, let me ask you, what goals have you accomplished within the last 3 months of us working together?
Oh, a ton of goals. I think the most impactful accomplishments that I've had have been putting systems in place that make me so much more effective and what's the word I'm thinking of here? Purposeful. I feel like a different person in terms of the reason and meaning behind a lot of the things I'm doing. One of the exercises that we did together earlier on was value-based, and we pretty much created, without getting into too much detail, values for myself. And that itself is like, it's simple. You would imagine if you said to some random person off the street, like, do you have values? Yeah, I'm sure that they would probably say yes, but would they be able to list out specific, words and attributes that they define as core values and that they use to, move about everything that they do, from entrepreneurial, whatever? Probably not. So that was huge for me. Finding that purpose, finding that drive, finding the motivation to really, organize myself as an entrepreneur, implement systems that help me to become productive and effective and work to my max. That's probably my biggest accomplishment. I think tons of smaller ones as well, but also worth mentioning that I have absolutely been able to kind of better understand myself as an entrepreneur as well through this course, and help me to, like, when we're building products, like, it's one thing to build a product based off a target demographic and use feedback and research, and okay, because of X we're going to build Y, but it's a totally other thing to apply yourself as the creator or a person that has a hand in building that, and recognize like, okay, this is the vision I have. This is how I want it to, affect people. This is how I want it to impact people and how to benefit them as the members of this community that we're building. And that has been something that I've also been able to really grow upon and actualize through this program.
Yeah, most of my clients derive the most benefit from the first month of us working together, just because that is where a lot of the groundwork is laid that a lot of people just skip past. So like you mentioned, the core values, knowing what it is that you want to accomplish, not only for yourself, but also in business. Like, what is the point of you being in business? Who do you help? Why do you help them? Laying all that groundwork. And yeah, that's usually where a lot of my clients see most of the benefit right off the bat. All right, next up, what health transformations have you made within the last 3 months?
Physically and mentally, many. I've lost weight, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, I had that quarantine gut going, just from becoming sedentary, becoming a glutton, becoming a bum on the couch, with the laptop out. I think I can't even remember exactly what it was this morning, but I've lost, I think, at least 10 or 11 pounds total. And I probably, maybe I had 2 on top of joining the program. And then the rest was pretty much from the motivation and drive and like wanting to do better through the program. So, I mean, that's been huge for me. Mentally, like I said, like I'm way more effective. I'm way more driven. I'm way more focused. I'm way more motivated on, building this product to be the best that it can be, to impact people as much as it can and be as beneficial to them as users. And I think it's also bled into the relationships that I have with others as well, right? I feel like I'm more effective in my communication. I feel like I'm more articulate in my thought processes, which also then helps my communication. And I just feel a genuine sense of gratitude, not only for a resource like the program, but also for like everything. I'm kind of like a nature nerd, and I like to be introspective. And I think we spoke about it earlier. I love philosophy and just kind of getting real deep on things. And that has definitely bled more than it ever has been into like a lot of aspects of my life where I'm just grateful for X, Y, Z, and then the whole rest of the alphabet. It's been great.
Gratitude is a fantastic drug, isn't it?
Oh, it's the best.
All right, now for the numbers. So on your initial assessment, you marked that you were a 7 out of 10 for your stress levels. On your ending assessment, that is all the way down to a 3 out of 10. What would you say made the biggest impact on your stress levels?
I think there's a lot of different things that we did and implemented that helped reduce stress. I think being more, one, the cold showers kicks my ass, and you want to talk about drugs, you feel like the best high you've ever had in your life coming out of a cold shower.
Damn right.
Yeah, that's nice. But then also just being more intentional with things, I think, helps to reduce in the lackluster of organization and planning. So back in January, when we first kicked things off on the program, I was kind of just attacking things as they came up. But now I'm a lot more organized. I'm a lot more ritualistic in my approach to things. I have more intention in the scheduling that I do. I got this beautiful Panda daily planner, nice little cute animal on there that always helps open that up in the morning. So there's just a lot of different things that we've kind of implemented that have reduced my stress. I didn't want to make it 0 out of 10 because obviously that's just unrealistic. I think in my full-time job, I have a lot of stressors going on, and that is there. But that being said, I now feel like I have a lot more power on my end to deal with it, to manage it, and to successfully negate it and move on from it.
Yeah, stress is one of the the biggest things a lot of my clients face. And I don't expect anybody to ever get down to a zero. If so, they've achieved like Buddhist monk status, like enlightenment, which is just
nirvana.
Not. And that's funny you should say that. Is I'm kind of revamping the initial assessment. All the questions are the same, but I added some scores to it. So anybody who takes the assessment gets a numerical score, and based on that score, it determines kind of their ranking in, in the, in the rankings. The highest score you can get is 70, but realistically, anything between 56 and 70 is unattainable. And I labeled that nirvana, just because it's like you are living the perfect life. That's like you have to answer level 10 out of 10 happiness, 0 stress. Like, I love everything about my life. Nothing is wrong. That's what that is. So yeah, funny you should say nirvana, because that's the name of the top category. That nobody should get that unless a Buddhist monk gets a hold of the initial assessment.
We should always be working towards it, though, for sure.
Oh yeah, of course. But just to clarify, if anybody does score that level, I cannot help you because I am not there yet.
Yeah.
So, and then the level below that is the optimized entrepreneur, which I'm at. I can help you get there, and so that's the step below nirvana. So yeah. Next up, on your initial assessment, you marked that you were only a 6 out of 10 with your satisfaction on your contribution to giving to society and those around you. On your ending assessment, that bumped up to a 9 out of 10, which for somebody creating an app specifically to help other people, that's a big jump. So what would you say was the biggest factor there?
Yeah, I think, again, it's going to be that gratitude and kind of recognizing what I have, recognizing what I've done, and recognizing what I'm going to do, and then being grateful for it. At the beginning of the program, we didn't have as much of the tool finished. And so I think I was kind of stuck in one of those, like, when is this going to ever come to fruition ruts, where we didn't have the tool ready for sale. So will it ever? And is this just a waste of time? Just pretty much like, what's the definition? The, limiting mindset, like the denial of everything. But now, like you said, we're building a community that the simple goal and mission of it is to help other people, to help them be more effective in the goals that they set, to accomplish more of them, to pretty much broaden their lifestyle, to experience more of things that they would have overlooked, and recognizing that is something that I think really could and I anticipate on having a significant impact on a lot of people, has just really put that into perspective for me.
Yeah. And I love this question. I love that I was able to help facilitate you bump up that score of your contribution, because this is exactly why I chose to focus on charitable company founders and social entrepreneurs, because the more I can help you thrive at your optimal level, the more you and all my other clients will help the rest of society. And then it's just kind of this, cascading effect of positivity and growth. And it's amazing. So
beautiful.
That's perfect. Next up, on your initial assessment, you rated your average daily happiness at a 7 out of 10, which is not bad at all. But then on your ending assessment, we were able to bump that up to a 9 out of 10. What would you contribute that to?
Yeah, I've always been a happy guy. I've always had that gratitude to me, and I've always been able to tie, something positive to something. I think, again, just being more intentional, being more purposeful, having values that I can always fall back on and recognize and attribute to, like, so many different things in my life that we spoke about in our conversations, that just amplified that gratitude again for me. And when you're grateful of something, there are very few things that can bring you down. And luckily I haven't had anything bring me down. So I've been very happy.
Perfect. Next one is a big one. So one of the biggest problems that potential clients come to me with is time management. They don't know how to manage their time effectively. They're not being as productive as they would like to be. And that was you at the start of the program, because you marked a 4 out of 10 with your satisfaction with your current time management. At the end of the program, that bumped all the way up to an 8 out of 10. What would you say was the biggest factor with time management?
Yeah, implementing systems, implementing, ritualistic behaviors in the morning and at night. One of the coolest things that we did was kind of some sleep analysis and through wearables and whatnot. Having a better understanding of something as simple as sleep, like it's so important. If you're lucky enough to be one of Taylor's clients, that is something that you'll learn about, and that is something that you will be grateful for when you can get a good night's sleep. Because when you do, you wake up the next morning, you fill out your planner, you get yourself a nice breakfast of some high protein. And those type of systematic behaviors are really what put you in kind of like that, or can help facilitate to put you into something like a flow state, for instance, or one of those moments where you're working optimally, but you're also working efficiently, and you're also able to make decisions when things pop up. And that was something that I struggled with earlier, is like the time management piece, where when you are building software, again, as someone who doesn't know how to build software, making the right decision oftentimes takes a lot of research and kind of trial and error. So being more intentioned again and systematic absolutely hit that one out of the park for me.
Mm-hmm. Next one, kind of related, is your ability to focus on a specific task. Your initial assessment, you put a 7 out of 10, which a lot of people would think, there's really nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But in the Captain's Lifestyle program, we're not going for fine. Fuck being average. We're trying to maximize our potential. And in the ending assessment, that bumped all the way up to a 9 out of 10 for your ability to focus. What would you say was the biggest factor there?
I also should go back and say, like, I wrote a 7 on the initial assessment, but in retrospect, hindsight's 2020, was probably more of like a 5, if we're being real. Mm-hmm. Probably in the moment, I felt a little bit more confident than I actually was, and whatever, I went with that. But the ability to stay focused, the ability to, again, manage time effectively, that was largely improved for me. And I think one of the reasons why I wasn't way back when was because I was so disorganized. And when you are more organized, when you are more intentional with your time, organizing time to focus on specific tasks becomes easier. And it also just makes more sense because you have this visualization. For instance, if you're keeping like a calendar or a daily planner where X time is for X activity, and so do that.
Yep, exactly. All right, another big one that a lot of my clients or potential clients struggle with, a lot of times because they're not sleeping properly, is your energy level throughout the day. When you started the program, you marked that you were only 50% satisfied with your daily energy level. At the end of the program, that's all the way up to a 9 out of 10. What caused the biggest boost in energy?
Yeah, the energy thing for me is probably one of the best improvements that I've noticed as a whole. And I think it's absolutely attributed again to the sleep. I mean, having a good night's sleep and waking up well rested is just pretty much the best way to start off. I mean, you start with your best foot forward in that case. Eating cleaner, resulting in loss of weight, obviously was a plus, but also having, better food in my system to help me, pretty much cleaner gas in the tank. Just, helps me run more efficiently, but also stay energized. I'm not, loading myself up with like processed sugars as much as I may have been last year. So, shit like that. And of course, also being more intentional with my coffee intake. Those kind of things. But again, like I'm going to keep saying it, but gratitude invigorates me. Gratitude makes me energized. Gratitude makes me like amped to, even if I'm feeling shitty, like if I can recognize something that I'm grateful for, then I can get super focused in on that and super motivated to spend 3 hours like designing a little thing that might help someone be whatever. So yeah, I think that's my answer on that.
Yeah. Again, gratitude is a fantastic drug. Try it out sometime.
Yeah.
It's addictive. You'll be hooked.
Mm-hmm.
All right. One of my favorite questions is how satisfied are you with your ability to continue improving? And you marked 10 out of 10, which I would accept nothing less, because, that's my job as a coach is not to keep you as a client for the rest of your life. I want you to be able to go out on your own and be confident in your ability to continue learning new things, to continue growing and implementing things for yourself and your business. So what was it that kind of set you up for that success?
I think, again, a lot of the systems that we built, a lot of the habits and the practices that we would practice throughout the modules, all added up to build kind of that mindset of autonomy, of knowing that I'm able to, do something if I set my mind to it. And these are the resources that I have on my end, and these are the systems that I need to put in place to either improve upon XYZ task, or if I ever need a fallback plan on, then we have like stress relief systems to put in place, or for instance, like supplements that I would be able to take to kind of almost ground myself if I decided to go out on a new venture but got bogged down. Like I have this fallback net that works, because here I am, right? But it's also things that I've learned, that I've internalized, that now going forward I'll always be able to apply. Like you said, I mean, this is for life. This isn't just for the 3 months. This is something that I'll always be able to have in my back pocket and always be able to pull out whenever I need to.
Yep. And that's exactly what I try to explain to people. If they say that the program is too expensive, I'll ask, okay, well, what would you pay for health, happiness, and productivity? Like what is that price for you?
Yeah.
And just to put this out there, I'm working on getting my program up to a 10,000 plus cost. So right now it's not close to that, but it's moving toward there, just because I'm constantly updating the information. I'm always adding new things, looking for ways to improve the user experience. So
when I was looking at new golf clubs to buy, you're hit with this crazy shock from the sticker price, right?
They're
You're
expensive.
like, oh damn, those are beautiful. They're expensive, and they are expensive, but they're really nicely made clubs. I play a lot of golf, so the average price per use is low. Like you can be hit with a sticker price of something and be shocked by it, but you have to step back and recognize, like, okay, is this going to be a short-term investment, or is this an investment for the long term, where I'm taking, let's say, the 10,000 plus price. I don't know what it'll land upon, but that broken down over 40 years, is it really all that expensive?
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. This program isn't like the $50 steak that you get at a nice restaurant, right? That you enjoy for the night, you're satisfied, and then the next morning it's gone. This is, like you said, something that lasts a lifetime. All right, a few more questions. What were your 3 biggest takeaways from the program?
3 biggest takeaways from the program. Let's see. Definitely that mentorship is absolutely key and mandatory for my life going forward, whether that be through you, whether that be through someone who, is more specialized in a completely different aspect of business or whatever. But at least someone some form of one-on-one mentorship has to be, whether either ongoing or in planning to happen. Two, I think as an entrepreneur, as an individual, like, this is my life. You know what I mean? Grab it by the fucking reins and take control of it. You know what I mean? I'm creating a community for personal development. So not only do I need to be like my best client, or at least strive to be my own best client, but I also just need to recognize that, like, we've only got one chance at this whole thing. Why not try and optimize it? Why not try and work to be the best that we can be, to do the things that we want to spend our time doing? That's not to say that we have to drop everything and go at Dewar alone. I have a full-time job that I pay my bills with, but I'm still using all of the things that I've learned from this program to help build my product so that I can, leave that full-time job and be autonomous, be fully employed, or self-employed rather. And, just like, make hard decisions. I think a lot of times people shy away from making hard decisions in their lives, and hard decisions don't have to be things like, super complex financial decisions, like which neighborhood am I going to be buying this house and at which interest rate, or whatever the hell that might be. Like, a hard decision can absolutely be get your ass into the gym for 30 minutes today, Wednesday and Friday for 3 weeks, because the benefits that you're going to see from that type of habit building behavior is going to be excellent. And, while it sucks in the moment to have to flex the muscles that you haven't used in 2 years or whatever, the benefits are going to vastly outweigh that. And three, if I haven't already hit it, like, there is so much to learn on so many things that even though you might think that you have a firm understanding of something, you almost always can learn something from someone else that knows either a little bit more or has experienced something different. And you, like, this whole thing is, we're all in this shit together. This is a group effort. This thing of life, like, people are different, people are unique, people are individuals, and experiencing and talking to and communicating with them, and learning from one another is massive, and everyone should strive to do that on a daily basis.
Agreed. Wise words. All right, last question. What is the most profound impact that this program has had on you, if you had to pick one thing?
Of those three, let's see, I'm definitely going to go with the application that it has to me as an individual and, like, as a man. I think having all the systems in place that we've learned, and I keep going back to that just because of how impactful it's been. It's not even all that drastic, Sometimes it's just like that one little dial change where you can kind of see things a little bit differently. Maybe your peripheries open up just a slightly bit more. You know what I mean? Where you're getting that little extra view on life, where, okay, things make a lot more sense now. I'm much more able to attack this thing that I have on my docket, and just pretty much understanding that I'm in control of this. It's always going to be up to me. I'm accountable to myself, but I'm also accountable to all the people that I interact with in my community, whether that be on a first name basis or indirectly through the impression that we leave on others.
Yeah, perfect. And we'll leave it there because your audio and video is kind of cutting in and out a bit, but we got the gist of what you were saying on that last point. Yeah, no worries. Perfect. So yeah, this has been a fantastic podcast. I think you provided a lot of value. So one more time, list for people where they can find more about you and what you're doing with Dewar.
Check out Dewar on DEWR app.com. You can check us out, hopefully, depending on the time that you're listening to this episode, on the Apple App Store as well as the Google Play App Store. And if you are, experienced, if you're in that app and you find a little value, please reach out to us and let us know, because, even if you don't, reach out and let us know what you think is a worthwhile addition to our tool, because our number one mission is to add value to other people, is to help people become better versions of themselves, be more productive, and of course be more accomplished in the goals that they have set out for themselves and that they also discover with others. So if anything pops up, even if it's just a quick thank you or add change color here, we want to hear it, because your feedback means a ton.
Boom. All right, Jake, thanks a lot for coming on and doing this for me. I really love doing the compare contrast to where you started to where you ended, and then you promoting Dewar. I think it's going to be a huge success, and I'm all about it. I support 100%. So yeah, thanks again. Any last words you want to leave them with?
Well, thank you so much for having me on this. I 100% want to start my own podcast now. This has been super fun. But I think, if you haven't already, check out or get in touch with Taylor. The man is a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge, and a wealth of value. And I'm sure that, even if it's just a quick 10-minute conversation, you'll leave that conversation with something in your back pocket. Check out Dewar and try and be a better person tomorrow than you were today.
And don't forget, live the captain's lifestyle. Peace.